Oh, I can't, man. I'm just not. Don't. I can't do it, man.
We gotta do it. Welcome to the Bardic Inspiration Podcast. I'm your host, Brad the Bard, and today we have the femme fatale, modern rogue from Jump City, Seattle. It's Brandee Laird. What it do?
What's up, Brad?
Yo, Brandee, first question. Tell me about your hand thingy.
My hand thingy?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got a little baby rip last night.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, a little
and
baby
then
rip.
I gave you the regular athletic tape.
Yeah, I've decided that athletic tape is obsolete when it comes to taping things like rips and or protection via tape. So I'm using kinesio tape.
And that's that stretchy.
It's a strappy
right?
tape. Yeah, most people know it as the stuff you put on after physical therapy or to try and support your muscles or help you heal.
It's got like a elastic material inside
I
of
wish
it.
I could show you, but you can see like my hand has perfect dexterity here. My wrist, and it's not even that much support on the wrist. This is just to hold down this section.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just superior for this purpose. Like, take it or leave it as far as the reason people use kinesio tape, or there's no real research around it right now. But this application is top notch.
Legit.
So it's just
so
holding
that
on
won't
my
re-rip
Band-Aid.
when you keep working bars?
No. So yeah, that's the idea. Is like I got my Band-Aid underneath this, and I have my little, because my delicate skin needs to be covered. So I got the Band-Aid and then the tape, and then I can train with this for all today, and it'll be fine.
That's awesome. My girlfriend said the same thing right there.
Yeah, for rips. Yeah, good. See, I'm glad someone else is thinking about this because I haven't seen anyone else do it. So I expected that other people have figured it out. I'm curious actually about the rock climbing community because they make tape gloves for climbing in cracks and stuff.
Yeah.
And again, like regular athletic tape or climbing tape gets kind of stiff and gets that weird feeling.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But that stiff, like for climbing, is like it's almost like a cheat because it helps you reinforce your tendons.
Right.
You're
so it might
on
not
the
make
tape.
sense to use something like this because I don't climb cracks, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
I wouldn't really know. But it's some good stuff. So I just work it out.
That's super dope. What prompted you to want to do that? I'm trying to figure out your thought process so I can be a better modern rogue.
Well, the idea is if you have more tools around, then you start learning how to use them in different ways. So, the first step would be having kinesio tape for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then when going to do something, looking at your stack of tapes, thinking, I think I'm going to try this one instead today. I don't know. That's the best way I can do it.
Yeah,
it's just
that's awesome.
I had some, and I have the athletic tape. I have the self-stick latex tape, which is what I would prefer over athletic. Oh, that's what I used to use. After deciding that athletic tape is just the worst.
Yeah.
For taping the rip and also wanting to still train and stuff. But even the latex tape or the non-latex self-adherent tape, it still bunches up. It kind of rolls over. It gets smaller over time. So I was
and then
thinking,
it's hard to unbunch it too.
Exactly, it's hard to unbunch it, and it starts to constrict things. So it just was like, I'll just use this tape, which I hadn't really been using because I don't really do much kinesio taping itself. Like, I'll put tape on for proprioceptive feedback, and primarily I'll use it for like just a little bit of support or compression around my wrists. Not so much to stop anything from happening, but more just for like the feeling and the comfort of it.
Yeah.
And like to help the lymphatic system kind of do
slight
things.
reinforcement.
Yeah, just something slight, or even just like the skin barrier again, like on concrete
the concrete
walls.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just like,
it grinds you
I'm
up.
not about this life.
No doubt. So, like, you're talking about having different tools available. Can you tell me about like what's your everyday carry? Like, what's a day in the life of Brandee Laird?
How many hours do you have?
Oh man.
Everyday carry. Well, actually, that's good that you brought up the EDC stuff because I'm a big proponent of EDP being greater than EDC, right? So I've been looking at like little trinkets and gear and what backpack should I be carrying? What is this? What is that? For a long time. And do you know about the EDC forums?
No, not much about them.
Okay, there's this forum that's been around for... No, it's like its own forum. It's been around for a long time. Like, I think I joined it in 2005 or something.
Geez.
Like,
it's
maybe
probably
a
pretty
little bit
fleshed
later.
out by now.
Yeah, it's really fleshed out. But what I'm seeing there, and no knock to any people who this is their jam, is like people love the next new thing, the next cool thing to carry. But I see the photos and everything's like shiny and new and unused and just kind of like having it for the sake of having it. So for me, it's like not about the gear necessarily, although it obviously helps. It's about the practice. So like there's something that I'm practicing every day so that either I can use the stuff that I have or I can use things that I can just find and get. As far as EDC though, my backpack, probably should have brought it over. Okay. Starting from the outside, I have a pouch with a cat tourniquet that stays here. Yeah. It's a quick release pouch from ITS. I have my inhaler pocket, because I have asthma. And in fact, one of my sensei has a theory that the reason I started being this way was because I had the need to carry something everywhere all the time. And he just made this really astute observation like a couple years ago. It's like, this is probably why you started all this. It's like, oh yeah, that's a good point. Like I really have had to carry something, so why not just build another, like carry more things? Yeah,
now you're adept at it.
Yeah, so I have like the pouch that has the inhaler, and then I keep my my mask in there with the particulate filter.
For that coronavirus.
Hey, it's been in there for a hot minute. I had it in there. I started carrying that when the forest fires started getting really bad.
Ooh, yeah,
in
on the
West Pacific
Coast,
Northwest.
Sure.
And then obviously it's just good to have around for working or coronavirus. I mean, I was wearing it in the airport. I'll be wearing it again when I go home. So that's that side, and then this side has like the keychain, the keychain with all the tiny tools. Yeah. Like a little tungsten for sharpening, and a tiny screwdriver for whatever, a little pry bar, stuff like that. A flash drive. I have a little canister with mini glow sticks on that keychain in there. Yeah. Nice. Never know when you want a mini glow stick. Never know.
Yeah. I could think of a few times where I could have used a little mini glow stick.
Yeah, totally. What else is on that little keychain? The itself is a bottle opener, so that's a thing. And there's a couple more things that I'm just kind of forgetting because it's not in front of me. But it's just like little stuff that, like small metal tools that I might want to pull out for anything. Plus, that's the kind of stuff that goes through airports. So that same little keychain I've taken all over the place. Right? Yeah. All right. We're still on the outside of the backpack. I mean, I have some, I make reflective Velcro pouches, so I'll put them on the outside if I want to. And then if I don't want them, I just flip them on the inside, go more stealth mode. They make these, the slap bracelets? Yeah, they make slap bracelets that are LED. And so you turn them on, and then you can have like the single light or the strobe. So I had that just wrapped around my drag handle, right? So you can just I can put it on for safety to be seen again, or I can leave it off to not be seen. Yeah. That I think it covers the outside of the bag. Well, there's also, do you know what a soft carabiner is?
Like a plastic one?
No. So what you do is you take, it'd be so much easier to show. But you take there's a type of cordage called Dyneema or Spectra. It's ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. So it's just like super tough stuff, basically as strong as steel in the same diameter, but it's hollow in the core. So you take, Chinese finger trap? Yes. So that's the idea, is you thread it back through itself, and then you make a big knot on the end, so the knot goes through the loop, and then it tightens on itself. And the idea is that it's so strong, and it's flexible. So things that you can't fit a regular carabiner around, soft carabiners you can just take and just wrap around it. So I made one of the like a larger one of those, and it's on the outside.
Yeah, you have to show me later.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll show you all this stuff later. What else do I carry every day? I carry a trauma kit inside the bag. The trauma kit is in a waterproof container. It contains chest seals, packing gauze, extra gloves, another extra mask. It has a Israeli type bandage. I think it's actually a North American rescue bandage in that. I have a couple trauma kits around, so I'm like, which exactly is in this one?
You're just gutting them for the best stuff in each.
Well, I mean, it's just for different things. So sometimes I'll put extras in if I'm doing a security job so that other people can have them. Or, I have the big one that stays at home that would be in the car or whatever. But, I mean, those are the main ones. Oh, there's a SWAT T tourniquet. You know about SWAT T?
No, I don't know. Oh, she's going to show me.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I'm going to show you.
Breaking it out.
So this is not one that has been tested and approved necessarily, but
it's like rubber, right?
It's just, it's just a band. It's like
I've seen it before. I didn't know it by that name, but
SWAT T. What's nice about these, though, is like, yes, it can stop the bleeding, but also it can be a pressure bandage. It can be something to help you make a splint, right? Yeah. It's just like a long, stretchy piece of
And it seems mad, like, durable. Like
It's pretty
not going to
durable.
break pretty easily.
Yeah, I don't expect them to break. So there's one of that because it's flat. So I have the cat on the outside, which is just, faster and better. But, keeping one of these on the inside. And then you can see I carry this on my person. And this kit has the SWAT tee, has a boo-boo kit with the Band-Aids and the like. And then gloves, more packing gauze, some steri strips. So there's like a layer that's like small cuts and abrasions. And then the layer that's like, whoa, that's a lot of bleeding. So.
You're literally like Lifeline from Apex Legends.
It's funny because I don't play Apex Legends, so I don't really know what that means.
She's like a combat medic in that game.
Cool, that's awesome. Yeah. I keep a lot of medical equipment in my backpack. My backpack is primarily first aid stuff. Like the whole front pouch is just, it's got shears, it's got more of the kind of gauze, like small scrapes and bumps and bruises, that kind of thing. What else is in there? Oh yeah, the toolkit. I actually pulled that out because I figured you'd say something about it.
Yeah, so let's go.
This is like this sits next to the trauma kit in my backpack. So obviously it's just like a pouch where I can put it on a belt. I never wear it on a belt because it's extra bulky. But this is my fix it, like fix stuff or get something done. So, and like this is kind of a microcosm. Like this is a tiny backpack inside my backpack.
Yeah.
So the front of it has a couple things here. You got the old signal mirror.
Oh
just
yeah.
Just cause it's tiny and it fits in that pocket.
You can make the. I like the little crosshairs you got on that bad boy.
Yeah, that's how it comes. I think it's a Meritac. Yeah, I keep the coating on there because I haven't had to use it as that, but there's other times.
That's cool. You could probably use it to like make fires and stuff with that crosshair. You'd be like, oh, where's the parabola?
That'd be sick. A P58 or 52 is like the larger P52. And I put grip tape on.
Yeah, I like the grip tape.
Yeah, I'm not trying to. It's just like even P38. You're just like, this is annoying. With grip tape, makes life so much easier with these things. This is cool. This was a gift from a friend. So I've only used these a couple times, but again, this front pouch is very small. It says Matchbox Instruments, and these are like tiny little lights. See, they look like matches. Yeah. The bottom are magnetic, and some of them don't work anymore, and you just pop them down.
Oh, that's cool.
And then you have light, right? And to turn them off, you pop them back up. And
what? Oh man.
They're magnetic, so you can stick into things.
Well, like what battery?
I have no idea. I've never.
You can't recharge them?
No, and the thing is, you can't recharge them. And I must have had these for at least 3 years by now.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give that back and let you do it.
No worries. See, this one's like doing a lot better than this one. So, they get a lot of beat up because they're in the front of this. But it's more one of those like. I never have had to use this, but it's kind of nice to know that if I want to, what happened? Oh, so the sheaths are coming off.
Yeah.
If I had to use it, it's all good.
You can blame that one on me.
No.
I have glue in the back. We're gonna fix that before you go.
It's really okay. I'm not tripping about this. Like I said, like these are not an essential factor in my light because I could carry this one. This is my main flashlight, and then I have like a handheld flashlight.
Yeah, and then there's always this cell phone boy.
Yeah, I try not to use my cell phone as a flashlight though. It's just not very smart for the battery power, and honestly, sometimes just having a proper flashlight is just way better.
It's the move for sure.
Yeah. So I always carry a handheld as well. It's in my coat pocket right now, though. So that's the front pouch. And this is something I'm carrying every day. So many
things in just that little pouch.
That's
literally
right?
like the size of like the jean pocket here.
Yeah, it is. It's like a tiny, yeah, exactly. Like, that's why I asked you how long you had for EDC, because I was like, really? You really want to know?
We going in more.
Yeah, it's silly. Okay, so this pocket has more shenanigans in it. I like to carry tapes of various types. So right now I have
Let's talk about your
duct tape.
That was your sweet, like, reflecty boy
tape.
No,
I don't have that tape with me. I was thinking about packing some extra, but I was like, we'll figure out this. So this is still glow in the dark gaff tape, regular duct tape. Oh, here you go. You know what those are?
I do know this shape.
I do
know this shape.
Yeah.
That shape is what you would want to build to get into cars.
Yeah, that's a Slim Jim.
Yes. Yeah. I didn't know the name of it. I know that. I know that though, because at DEF CON we.
So what this is like, it's my duct tape, but if I wanted to cut a Slim Jim or something out of something else, I can take the duct tape, rip it, and now I have a template, and I just cut it out.
I see you, Brandee. That's sweet.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. Let's see. Of course, the
How many people know
tape.
that?
Know that? I've never seen anyone else do that. Or know what this is, you mean?
Yeah, like how many people know that? Like when you say you know what that is.
No, I've never asked anybody.
Oh.
I've never shown anybody that I do this.
Oh, I'm stealing that idea.
You can steal
That's
that.
sweet.
Everyone should know. I mean,
Yeah.
Whatever.
That is super cool.
It's a good idea, right? I was like,
It
I
is.
want more templates. So I just made some. And then we have, of course, the black gaff, which does need a re-up here because I use it all the time. Got your super glue status.
Ooh, always good thing to have that boy.
Glue. Lighter, I like to put a clip on my lighter. This is, see it's actually coming off. There's tape. I just rubber band that thing on there, tape it down. When the lighter gets empty, I just take it all off and put it on a new lighter. So it can stay, so it doesn't sink down, so I don't have to dig for it.
Yeah.
I want it to be like right
That's
where
the
I want
move.
it.
That's the move.
Got a little more electrical tape, kind of the wider version. Got some oldie zip ties.
Oh, you got the little loopy boys too.
Yeah, just a little something, just cause. And then these are my my lock picks, the single set that I made out of these Street Sweeper bristles.
Yes, I remember you showed me these. This is so cool that you did it out of those too.
Yeah.
Because you see those on the street all the time.
Exactly.
Like in Walmart parking lots. This is
Anywhere.
what you see
Like,
them all the time.
Most municipalities have a street sweeper, and those things break off. What's nice is, I mean, it's a little brittle for sure. Like the bend sometimes, if it's too old, it'll just snap instead of being able to. These ones were nice. They call them fresh. They were fresh.
Fresh boys.
Fresh ones, yeah. And you can see each one's a tension wrench and a pick for just ease of use. But yeah, they're already the right size. So I've actually never made any out of the windshield wiper blades. I know that's the thing people do, but I've never done it. And then those
my tension wrenches are all windshield wiper blades.
And then those are stored in a spring. I'll show you. They can't really show them. A spring that's in there on a safety pin.
That's dope. So they just slide right in.
They just slide right in. And then I always keep. People call these kilt pins or whatever. I like to have those around because they're pointy.
I recognize that.
They're really pointy and pointy.
Good for poking.
Good for poking stuff. You never know when you need to poke something. Sometimes you just gotta poke.
Sometimes you just gotta give them a little poke. Thanks for that.
Okay, so that's the front, and then there's a whole other pouch that has more stuff for crafting and fixing. So, a couple Ranger bands I made from old bicycle tubes. It stays on a carabiner, so you've got bands and a beaner. This is a
sewing kit.
This is my sewing kit. So the tools are in there. It's an Altoid can. I put super glued magnets in.
Yeah, that's the move.
So that if
I'm
doing
not
stuff,
going nowhere.
nothing's falling out. With upholstery thread. So the main thread is upholstery thread. It's like strong nylon thread. And then this is a Kevlar cordage, and this is a Spectra, again, that ultra high molecular weight polyethylene.
Let me see. I have some Kevlar thread. I'm gonna have to hook you up because I have like a whole spool.
You do, yeah.
It's like thinner than this too.
That's cool. I don't have
this
that
is
much.
probably stronger, obviously, because it looks like it's multiple strands. Like
yeah,
combined.
I'll use that stuff for like doing whipping on things or like lashing something down. Like I don't have it right now, but I put my own finger rings on like flashlights and stuff. I'll use the bearing, like a bearing system, and I'll wrap that first, and then I'll like lash it onto something else to be strong. So that's the kind of thing I'll use for that. This is also Kevlar thread. It's just stored in a different manner. You just kind of
the chappy sticky.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing is just you wrap it around a pen, and then you stick that in there.
That's cool.
And then you can just like kind of deploy it over time.
I like how not only do you have the stuff, you know the techniques like to maintain. What's going on?
Altoid can, yeah. Okay, it's just a little needle that has some of the extra regular thread on it. I started using those after doing commercial fishing and thinking that they're awesome.
This is for fixing tents and stuff.
No? You can fix tents. Well, they're made for fixing things like nets, right? Because you're like weaving it through and you're making the webbing over time. So they come in all kinds of different sizes. This is definitely like one of the smallest ones you're gonna find for that.
I dig it.
Yeah. Okay. Almost done here. A little more cordage, just some micro cord. This is 100 pounds static test load. You never know.
String is always like a good thing to have.
This is like the string pocket. Some fishing line. Again, never know when you want something, a little tripwire, what you got there. This is something I think a lot of people don't know of. So I do a lot of hand sewing or fixing things. A lot of times the thread over time will get kind of weird and mangled and mangy. So this just has a wax in it.
Yeah.
And I'll just wax up.
Let me see. I have like bowstring wax.
Yeah.
That's similar to this. And that's kind of what it reminds me of.
Yeah, so I just keep the wax in there for
beeswax?
when. Yeah.
Nice.
I just keep it in there for making it my life easier.
That literally smells just like the bowstring wax too.
Cool.
Except just a little bit of sweet to it.
This started with as dread wax.
Oh,
I used to
nice.
have, these dreads.
That's cool. You used to have dreads?
Oh, dude, I had dreads for 10 years. I had these long dreads. Yeah, if you keep my old Instagrams and stuff, you'll see like this like big dread hawk. It was pretty epic, I gotta say. It was,
you had the dread hawk?
Dude, I've been rocking the hawk forever.
All right,
yeah, y'all
Max,
don't know me.
go.
I got the hawk going on, but now it's a fro hawk. So, okay, almost done here. I got the, you seen these before? Form cards? Yeah, these are pretty cool. They actually do work. Yeah, these are just like these pieces of like credit card side pieces of plastic, sort of plastic. I actually don't know exactly what it is, but you just put it in hot water, like water that you make tea in. Doesn't even have to be boiling hot necessarily, and then it becomes very pliable, and you can mold with it. So say one of this guy busts off, get the form card, put it in the water, mold it, and now you have a new knob or whatever.
That's cool.
Yeah. In fact, you can have this one.
Yay!
That's yours.
That's sweet.
And then
we gonna trade later, don't you?
and then the rest of the things in there are the abrasives, just various types of sanding papers and elements for various tasks. I mean, anything from calluses to knives or whatever. And so I guess there's two more things, but they're not like they're kind of just. Sometimes there's like little extra. You know how the junk drawer you just kind of collect some extra stuff. So I do keep a larger needle in here, which has the remainder of the stuff I used last. And then this actually had the fishing line wrapped around it, but then it kind of just came off on its own through use. But this is just a piece of aluminum can.
Yeah, make a shame out of that, boy.
Yeah. So that's that. That's my mini backpack. So if you can imagine like the density of this, that's kind of the same thing my whole backpack has.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I'm a fan of like packing a lot of essentials in a tight space, like in my camping bags and stuff. My EDC is like super bare minimum, but like I have a bag in my car that usually has this stuff.
Yeah.
So you're actually training with this stuff on your person sometimes.
Yeah, so that's a good point, is that I'm a pedestrian primarily. So I'm taking public transit, I'm walking around. So part of my practice, my personal daily practice is absolutely to carry load and to bear weight, because I want to be able to do it. So I do practice doing it. So yeah, I'm carrying more weight than I would ever need. Like, am I using this stuff every day? Obviously not. You know, my daily, as I don't need all of this daily, but when I want it, it's really, really nice to have it. And a lot of times this stuff is carried not just for me, but for other people who need things, you know.
It makes you a valuable party member in the zombie apocalypse scenario.
Yeah. Yes, that's funny, because that's kind of where it all came from in the first place. Is like realizing as a kid that, hey, if I'm useful, people want to keep me around.
Yeah.
So
being expendable is not the move.
Yeah. So this is my way.
That's super cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I feel like I could like have you bust out like 3 different backpacks you have for like different uses, and we could talk about that for hours.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, at home. I always call myself a bag lady because I have I have black backpacks, and they all have a purpose, and they all have their particular tools and tricks inside of them.
No doubt.
But for EDC, it's mostly like small tools like this, and then I do leave some space in my bag for things that I might have to put in there. But
yeah.
You know.
So where you're at in the city, is it pretty densely populated?
Yeah, fairly. Like, well, where I move through the city, because where I live is pretty standard.
Yeah.
Seattle is kind of weirdly spread out.
Yeah. I've been there once.
Yeah. There's definitely people around. Like, I'm not gonna walk outside and not see anybody. You know.
Yeah. So, what the idea of training with this stuff? You're kind of living the lifestyle of like a rogue that's having all the tools that they're always gonna need with them. what's like your opinion on people that have this stuff that maybe train with it, like, you know, every now and then, but they don't live the lifestyle?
Well, I'm not going to knock anyone for not wanting to carry a bunch of crap that they know they're not going to use in the day, or that they hope or think they're not going to use in the day. That said, what's the point of having something if you can't use it, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I had all this cool stuff, but it's not with me, then it does me zero good. I might as well not have it at all.
Yeah.
So that's really my thoughts on that. It's like, it's cool to have it and use it, and hobbies is fine too. Like, you know, if you lockpick only at home for hobbies and you're worried about being, you know, having them on your person, I can get that, right? Some people are kind of sketched out about that, or don't know the legality around certain tools or whatever. But for me personally, I want to have it with me if I want to be able to use it. Otherwise, I'm just like kicking myself for leaving it at home or something.
Yeah, I got this pen at DEF CON that like busts open and has lockpicks inside.
Cool.
I wish I had it here.
That's so cool.
I want to show you it so bad.
Yeah, that's awesome.
What do we got here? I love how Brad is seriously intrigued. Yo, I'm seriously intrigued by everyone I have on this show.
Yeah, he's
recognize.
He's an excited puppy.
I only bring on the real deal. So that's super cool. So let's kind of segue into like the parkour aspect of Seattle. The community there's pretty thriving. I know like they did like a big show, like Jump City Seattle thing.
Man, that
like,
was so long ago.
Yeah, I know, but that's how I knew that like Seattle was the move, and I always wanted to travel there because of that show.
That was actually kind of a fluke because no one from Seattle had anything to do with that show.
Really? That's crazy.
No, they just decided Seattle was the place.
Like California people on the show.
Yeah, no, I don't like. None of us really understand how it decided that Seattle would be the place, but there weren't even any Seattle athletes on that show.
Right? That's crazy.
So I mean, the community is thriving, but it has nothing to do with that Jump City.
It was so weird because there was a bunch of people out of Florida that it was on that show.
Yeah.
And then California people.
And Colorado.
Right?
Yeah.
No invite.
I mean, I'm not trying to do Jump City. I can't keep up with those Dylan Baker and man.
Insane.
Before Dylan Baker was Dylan Baker.
Well, they had like Levi Muhlenberg in there too.
Yeah,
the OG.
Levi. I love Levi.
He's insane. His jumps are like, what's his thing? The Sky Native.
Sky Native. Yeah, he's doing like farming and stuff now.
Yeah, the hydroponics.
Yeah,
I was following him for a while.
He's good.
He's
like, if we're talking altruism, he's the one. You know.
He's the one. Yeah. What is it? True Neutral or whatever.
Yeah, he's awesome. So since then, like going to fast forward to now, Seattle's really booming for parkour. So I'm with Parkour Visions, the nonprofit, and we've been working in the city for over 10 years. But there's other businesses now, like there's some couple gyms around, maybe not right in the city, but just outside, so it still counts as the Seattle community. There's a just community that's not associated with any of the businesses. It's just called Seattle Jumps. So if you ever travel to Seattle and you're thinking, I want to link up with the parkour community, just look on Facebook, Seattle Jumps. It's the bulletin, and that's where people go to say, hey, I'm going to train here. Anyone want to show up? There's a community jam every Friday from Seattle Jumps. Someone just chooses the location. People join up, you hang out, you do the training. So it's good. It still has that. And for a while it wasn't there. In fact, it took a couple people moving to Seattle. And there's a lot of people who are in the community and helping run this kind of thing that weren't in Seattle before. So that's part of why is they brought that back. Because when we first started the community and the culture, it was like that. It was like jams all the time and people gathering. It just wasn't as many people for sure. But it was happening. And then we had a gym for like 10 years, and a lot of that stuff kind of went away, especially with the people who were making those community things happen. We started focusing on our facility because when you have a gym, there's like, it never ends. Yeah, it never ends. And so it's interesting because even though I really miss having a facility, there is something around the freedom to not focus on that, and also just to be able to refocus on getting into the world and the community,
the culture and stuff. Yeah,
so it's definitely, there's like an old school feeling to the regularity of people getting together and training. So yeah, it's cool.
Can you tell me more about like the the nonprofit aspects of Parkour Visions? Like what exactly do you guys do?
Yeah, nonprofit aspect. So one of the things we want to do the most is take parkour instruction and experience to underserved communities. So, for example, I applied for and was granted a grant for $50,000 for over the course of 2 years. So what I was able to do was, for a year, I went to a community center and did a 90-minute parkour class twice a week, and the students had to pay nothing. So I'm just there. So that's paying for me to be there.
Yeah.
And to help them out and to teach them. So,
that's awesome.
Right. And so the location was in South Seattle is known to be lower income, more diverse, these types of things. And the idea is taking it to the underserved communities so that, everyone can benefit from it, because it tends to be, especially with like parkour gyms and stuff, usually people who are more affluent are the ones who get to use the space.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? You got to be able to pay for memberships, or parents pay for their kids' memberships, which, of course, I want everyone who wants to do parkour to be able to have access to it.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is, the reason the discipline became what it became was because youth who were underserved or low income are the ones who found out the Yamakasi and the history of parkour. Like, they're out there saving themselves with their discipline. And so in my mind, it's still one of those things that is one of the best for those types of populations, to try and redirect all of that energy from the obvious gang violence and crime and shenanigans to making yourself strong and resilient and courageous and etc.
Yeah.
So I don't want the industry to leave behind the people who parkour is really for.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, that definitely does. And you mainly focus on training like outdoors, right?
Yeah, I love being outside.
Yeah, that's definitely like where I started with my parkour journey, if you will. Like, I've always been like a concrete guy, so I know exactly what you're talking about, like the wrists getting eaten up, the trees, all that stuff, man.
Yeah, I mean, when I had a gym, I keep saying, because we had it for about 10 years, and then some permitting shenanigans, and basically we haven't had a gym for Parkour Visions for over 2 years now.
No.
So when I had the gym, even then, I honestly, I'd be in there all day working, and then by open gym, I'm like, well, I'm going outside now.
Yeah.
So I do love having bars, because that's something you don't really have except for in gyms or in parks and stuff. But for me, it is about going into the environment and finding my challenge there, where I'm going to be. There's just something tranquil about it too. I also train mostly at night, because there's less people around.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then you, I remember a big shout out to Andy Taylor for letting us use the PPK gym for the podcast, but also for your workshop. You were saying, like, a big thing in the beginning of the workshop, you're talking about how you train rain or shine. Yes.
Yeah. So that's another thing. There's any discipline or sport or something that's gonna have fair weather practitioners. Seattle's a great example. We have some bike paths, and some people are commuting all year long. You get this badasses and their spandex and their bag with their work clothes, just
the
pushing
plastic
it.
bag.
Yeah, exactly. And then springtime or like late spring or early summer comes around, and suddenly there's 3 times the amount of people on their bikes. I still think doing something is better than doing nothing. So I'm not going to go to someone who's only riding their bike in the summertime being like, you won't ride your bike in the winter, because that's just not helpful, right? But I do see a lot of that with the parkour community as well, where you just want to do what you want to do, and the rain won't let you do that. So I'm thinking of, folks who like big jumps, right? It's sketchy doing really big jumps to walls that are wet or covered in moss, right? Or rails that are wet. So my mindset is to find the best technique or the best activity or the best challenge for the environment at the time, not trying to fit the environment into what I necessarily need, which is not all the time. I'm definitely going to, if I'm like, hey, I need to work on my climb ups, I'm going to find a place where it's going to help me work on my climb ups. Right? But I also don't want to think, because this wall is all messed up or mossy or whatever, I'm just never going to ever try climbing up on it, because that doesn't make sense. There's this, we want our ideal obstacles, and that's not, in my opinion, that's not the essence of parkour, or at least it's not complete to only use your ideal obstacles. So I'll choose things that I hate, like flat top rails. Can't stand them. Do not like them. They're awkward. They're not fun to touch. But I have to go practice on them sometimes because they are around. Yeah. You know?
Always slanted at ugly angles.
Yeah, weird angles. Or, another one is chain link. Everyone hates chain link. Ooh. Yeah, chain link sucks, right? But how common is chain link? It's everywhere. It's around. It's around. It's around. No, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And if you and if you can't get yourself to, see how far you can climb a long chain link or whatever, then
it's intimidating.
Yeah, it is. And it's one of those things where, again, my practice is meant for utility. Mm-hmm. Your intent for your practice is what's going to dictate these kind of mindsets and these ideas. Of course. So a lot of people aren't doing parkour for utility. They're doing it for like external utility, maybe internal, for feeling good, to be stronger, mentally and emotionally, for fun, to learn their own like limits in certain ways. But I want that, and I want to be able to deal with any obstacle in the ways that I can. Yeah. Ideally.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I still have a long way to go.
Yeah, don't we all?
All of that. Yeah.
Like I can ask like the guy that like does the biggest tricks, and I'm like, what are you working on? Oh, my height's not good enough. I'm like, you're doing doubles, dude. Like,
totally.
What do you want?
I'm like, I'm not strong enough.
It's insane. Everyone's always chasing that next thing. So let me ask you, you do a lot of these like I guess we could call them like workshops that you're doing like in Seattle, where you're doing them outside. What's like the main demographic that you have like showing up to these things?
Well, I don't really do that many workshops. So I define workshops as like a kind of a one-off scenario, like usually like a longer session. So like the one I did here was 2 hours long. Yeah, of course. I did weird stuff.
Yeah, it was so fun.
Put out some weird stuff
We're
for people.
definitely going to post some of those clips.
Yeah, cool. So most of the things I do day to day is just like fundamentals classes. So so just like, you're learning your basic vaults and your jumping and your mindset and this stuff. So the demographic is kind of across the board. My adult class usually gets middle-aged folks, like people, 30s, 25 to 35 to I don't know. It's hard to say because it always changes, right? But actually, I definitely get in my adult class more like mid-20s to mid-40s ages. But people of all backgrounds. Like I got the Amazon nerds who are out there doing the thing, and then there's a guy now who he's actually working to become a firefighter, so he's out.
Oh, that's cool.
I got someone who is like an environmentalist, right? It's just people. With the kids classes, we're in community centers and schools and places like that, so you get whatever the school and the location of the city. So it's not so much about the class itself, it's about where the class is happening and who can access it, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you have like a lot of females that gravitate toward you?
Yes and no. Over time, there's definitely more female practitioners than there ever have been. I think that is directly related to the female example. Like the more that women can see someone like them doing something like parkour, the closer they get to, oh, that is for me, right? Because if you're only seeing
testosterone man.
If you're only seeing that, and because we're also fighting against the society putting onto us, you're not supposed to be rough and tumble and strong 100%. And like if you get strong in your muscles, you look like a man. Like I've been told I look like a man multiple times just because I have really big arms. Yeah. Right.
People are intimidated.
Yeah, or they're ignorant, right? They don't know, or they're taught that something is beautiful and something else is not beautiful. So like all of that stuff is definitely on the forefront when you're talking about women doing parkour, because a lot of us have spent, not me so much, but a lot of the folks have spent their whole lives being told, don't get strong, be demure, like be gentle, do da-da-da-da-da. Yeah. And parkour can be really the opposite of that.
Absolutely. Well, I think it's really awesome too to have such like a powerful, charismatic like role model such as yourself for that community. Yeah, I'm sure you're a super good anchor for the people there. We need more people like
yeah,
you.
I don't know. I don't know. Well, I always tell any women who start practicing, even like start right away, it's like, please film yourself, and if you can, share your practice. And all the time, like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I suck. Oh, I could never do that. It's like, okay, look, first of all, you don't suck because you're practicing. And secondly, it's not about impressing anybody. It's about showing others that it's totally possible to be anyone you are and do this discipline, right? Because role models is a thing. Every community that has had a strong female role model tends to have more female practitioners. And the more that's happening, the more it's going to happen. So I definitely think that my presence has made an impact on that. I think it'd be fine without me. You know, they would have still made it.
Well, it's good to have like a person that can be the vessel. Because I know, like, personally, there's plenty of things like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, for example. Like, I got into that because I had some powerful role models that I was like, man, I can't believe someone like this small is capable of beating someone that powerful. Like, I'm like, all right, there's something to this.
Totally.
So that's how I got into that. So it's definitely good to have like a really powerful person in the community. So
and honestly, there's more now too, though. Like, I'm not alone in this now. We have plenty of like really badass chicks on the ground, you know. But definitely makes a difference.
What if you could give like a few words to kind of encourage people that maybe are on the fence from like getting out? And like, I know like a big thing for me was people are uncomfortable training outside in public because it's like, oh, people are gonna judge me. It's like, dude, everyone judges everybody. That's just the nature of the world. Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, I said before, I train at night because there's less people, so it's not you know, it's still something that I'm working through and working with. But ultimately, if the worry is, I don't want to go out and look stupid. I mean, take it from anyone who has been training parkour for a while. It's a lot less stupid to go out and try and learn than it is to think that you can't and just stay in, you know? Like
100%.
Like, the effort itself is the value at the start. Yeah. And people are going to be confused. People are going to think it's dumb or that you're wasting your time. And honestly, compared to like 10 years ago, way more people are supportive of it and even know what it might be called. Yeah. You know, before it'd be like, what are you doing? You can't do that there. And now it's like, oh, are you guys doing parkour over here? Right? So it's different now because more and more people are understanding that there is a thing. Maybe they don't get what it's about. Yeah. In fact, most of us don't know what it's about because everyone has a different version of what it's about.
Yeah, everyone's got a definition.
But people can recognize it and at least understand that much. And that's due to communities like this, what we've done in Seattle, what's being done across the world, right? Where it's people teaching and legitimizing parkour, right? So it's a lot less daunting than it has ever been. And again, it's not about those other people. It's not about what someone's saying or into each other, like, oh, see those guys, or do a backflip. Like, that's it's going to happen.
Absolutely.
But if you're letting someone else dictate your movement, then you're missing the point of gaining freedom through your training.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, me personally, when I first started, like, I hated practicing alone. Like, at least if I had a group of people, like, it was like, oh, this is normal because they're all, like, here in a group. But, like, the first couple times I practiced alone and people were like, hardcore parkour. I'm like, dude. Yep. Like, leave me alone. Like, I'm trying to get in the zone here.
Well, another thing to consider, at least with that sort of thing, hardcore parkour, do a backflip. It's in what I've taken it to nowadays is that's just them wanting to get closer to it. Yeah. Right? Because everyone wants to be part of something. Yeah. Everyone wants to show that they know something. Yeah. Like, so the hardcore parkour, that in my mind is just an attempt to find affinity in that moment, and it's just a really inept way to do it, you know? Like, people get, self-conscious and just afraid to even interact with each other, so it's easier for me to be like, hardcore parkour, than like, hey, I recognize what you're doing and I think it's actually kind of cool. Like, no one's gonna say no doubt. So that's really what that is. So I just kind of blow it off.
That's a pretty good take on that. I bet you're way more accurate with that than like people might think.
Yeah, I mean, after experiencing enough times, because I was tired of being annoyed by it.
Yeah.
You know, I got tired of being like, oh, these guys.
You shrinked it. You were just like, let me look into the psychology.
Yeah, exactly.
Of this.
Like, why do they keep doing that? And it's like, oh, they want to be part of it somehow, but they don't know how to actually approach it and be part of it.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
So, what's the main focus of your training like lately? Like, so you're training with gear on your person.
Yep.
For the purpose of what exactly? What is your main thing to be prepared for?
The
with
apocalypse.
Your training? Drink to that. Let's go.
I mean, that's the easy answer.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, my focus in my training is I'm working on my upper body a lot. Like, I need better climb ups.
Mm-hmm.
I need better climb. I've gotten and lost a strict muscle up a couple times, and I want a muscle up whenever I want it.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what I want. So, my training has been focused a lot on just drilling and strength and this sort of thing, with upper body strength. But as far as like training with gear and being ready, it's really just a general preparedness that I'm looking at. I can't say I have a master plan around it.
Okay.
Right? Because, you know, I joke about the apocalypse, but that kind of is it. Like, suppose this coronavirus gets hectic, out of control here, because it is happening over in China. Like, it's, you know, it's wacky. Or, you know, an earthquake scenario. Yeah. Right? Or just really anything. I mean, I'm not trying to get super conspiracy, but people are people, and things happen from people. And, like, you know, an EMP. Yeah. Right? Like, 100%. Just something simple. Like, there's a lot of snow, and you need to walk to the store. And you need to carry your groceries back from the store. I sure hope I can do that physically and not rely on, you know, a car to hold all my stuff. Yeah. I'm just going for being ultimately ready for whatever comes, which I don't feel like I am. Yeah. I feel like I'm always underprepared. And that's probably why I train the way I do. It's because I'm like, it's an anxiety. I'm like, I'm not prepared. I better do something. I'm not ready. I haven't trained for this. Yeah.
That's really interesting, and a lot of people don't take seriously like the aspects of the reality of like what's going on in China, for example, right? It's like oh, you know, we don't need to be ready, we don't need these guns, we don't need these weapons, like, you know, that's stuff that only the government should have. But the government's literally like oppressing people and killing them in China right now. Yeah, like, that's a real thing happening.
I mean, we can look at the Hong Kong protest as a great example. Yeah, you know, absolutely. It's just like when the disarmed societies don't have much to fight back with when legislation is not a possibility, right? Ideally, we use our legislation to get what we want as people. We vote in the ones we want. They do the things that we ask them to do, you know. But you see time and again, societies and countries and dictatorships and various things that are, you know, one of the first steps is to disarm the population. Yeah,
it's scary. It's a scary thing to even think about.
And that the thing is, like, even if someone doesn't want to get, like, you know, into the world of weaponry and like militias and fighting, there are things you can still do to be armed against other scenarios, right? That's part of why I carry so much medical stuff, because I want to be as useful as I can if need be. Yeah. Right? Like, definitely. If I can't do one thing, I'm going to do another. But yeah, that's definitely my mindset. There's also, I mean, there's definitely just, it's always been this way for me. You know, as a kid, I just remember learning about world wars and learning about, like, big things happening. I'm anxious. Just my brain was like, instead of being, I'm afraid of the whole world, I'm going to just ignore it. My response was, I'm afraid of the whole world. I'm going to do whatever I can to feel more prepared against it.
Do you travel a lot? Like, I know you're traveling, obviously, to Philly, that's where we are right now, and you're coming from Seattle. Like, that's a whole, 3,500-mile journey right there.
Yeah, a big 5-hour flight. I have traveled a lot, I don't... Generally, my travel has been for parkour. Mostly someone or a group of someones will ask me, hey, Brandee, come and teach at this event. Or, hey, come teach this thing. And I say, okay. And then I go and I travel there. So usually it's a couple trips a year. So last year, for example, I went to Perth, Australia to teach a women's weekend. It was their Wham Jam. And then to Melbourne to teach another couple classes and workshops. I was in Denmark. I went to Copenhagen to teach at Girl Academy. Hey, yo, if you're doing parkour, I don't know who your people are, but if you have never started, Gerlev. It's Gerlev, so it looks like Gerlev. But this is an amazing experience where you go for a week, you sign up for your curriculum, they bring in coaches from all over the place, and you just learn at your level all week long.
Where is it?
It's outside of Copenhagen in Denmark. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. They feed you really well. Okay, if you like food.
How much is it?
I don't know because I taught there.
Oh, sweet.
I was teaching, so I'm not really sure how much it costs.
Yeah.
But whatever it costs, I'm sure it's worth it.
It's worth, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because
really
they take care of you, and it's like a retreat too. It's like you can chill when you want to chill, and it's just a beautiful thing. So, I was in London for the gatherings called Rendezvous. It's like one of the longest standing educational gatherings for parkour. Again, I was teaching. So that's pretty much how it works, is someone will ask me to go somewhere, and I would love to get to the point where I can actually just have enough income and comfort with that to be able to just decide that I want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the ultimate goal, because I do really value traveling to train and traveling to practice, because it's my opinion that part of a complete parkour practice is going outside of your own area to learn.
Yeah, or even your comfort zone, like you were mentioning with the rain and stuff.
Yeah, the rain, and that's one thing, but that's still, to me, it's still incomplete. Like, if I only go to the same spots, rain or shine, that's not enough. Like, I have to find new spots, places that I've never trained, people that I've never trained with. You know, even just being here at PBK with Andy, you know, I've seen progressions I've never seen before. And that's after having been all over the place with a bunch of different people. And still there's so many new things to learn and to consider and to argue about even. Yeah. Right? So
it is insane how big movement is as a practice, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Especially obstacle-based movement, because that's what I call it. Like, because parkour is just like its own little thing, but there's other things that kind of fit with it. So that you have this like obstacle-based movement. And in that you have your obstacle course racing, your MoveNat, Ninja Warrior fits under that, right? Parkour, free running, and then everything kind of trickles, and there's a lot of crossover. So it's that's another thing too, is not just parkour, right? Learning other things. Was it you? Maybe it was Andy. Someone said Fighting Monkey. Talked about Fighting Monkey.
No, I don't know what that is.
It's crazy. Fighting Monkey is a crazy modality. It's awesome. Essentially, I mean, to boil it down, I'm not doing it due justice, but basically it's training yourself to be strong, resilient, and adaptable. So in Fighting Monkey, as soon as you get something down, you change it to make it terrible again and make it hard. That's the best way I can put it. They train really, really hard, and they're generally using some sort of tools to help you. So there's one that's called the Dragon Pearl. It's like a big wooden ball, a big heavy wooden ball, and so you'll do things like holding it out for tension or throwing it. Like one of the things we did during the intensive was you take this thing and you hug it as high as you can and keep catching it and throwing it to somebody else, and just it's really confronting, especially for someone like me, where I'm like, I don't trust these people around me, but now you want me to run behind them as they throw it up and catch it and then call random numbers, and it's meant to just to shift your brain and get adaptations and get you to be swifter and more aware and definitely more resilient. It's all about longevity and ability to move. So Fighting Monkey practice is like, it was awesome, and it still is awesome.
Where do you go for that?
You go wherever they are. It's these people, Joseph and Linda, and they're the main ones who came up with it, and they do intensives and workshops kind of all over the world. So
that's cool. So it's like a traveling kind of thing.
Yeah, you just search for Fighting Monkey and see where it is. And there's a couple people who teach elements of it as well, people who've done intensives and things. But there's very few who are actually certified, like or are their instructors. But that's a good example of, getting outside of your discipline in order to get better at your discipline.
Yeah, to influence it, absolutely. So what kind of martial arts do you train?
Brand Fu.
Brand Fu.
Brand Chi, like.
Let's go.
Yeah, I don't really do any martial arts formally right now.
Okay, that's cool.
But in the past, I have played with capoeira, like Angola.
Nice.
Briefly, very, very briefly, and I consider that a martial art for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's applicable. I did some traditional boxing for a bit with an awesome coach. I really like, it's not a martial art, but like Krav Maga. It's like a self-defense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Idea. Like, don't tell a Krav Maga person that they're doing a martial art.
Really? Is that a thing?
Well, it's just not a martial art. That's what Krav is, like a defense system.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, it's the Israeli military, like martial art by my understanding.
Well, exactly, martial art. It's again, it's intent.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about what you're seeing, because are there punches? Yes. In karate and this, yes. But the idea is, martial arts is a discipline or art practice, maybe for yourself or for sport, that could be applied to self-defense, or some things could be, but it's not focused on self-defense specifically, whereas Krav is only about defend yourself.
Yeah.
Kick him in the balls and run away, kind of thing. So definitely I like those elements, even though it's not a martial art. Like, there's plenty of elements, because I like utility. Like, I want what works, right? But I also don't study Krav, like, officially. Like, I don't have a Krav coach or whatever. I probably would. It's just very expensive.
Yeah, no doubt.
So I can't say that I really have a traditional martial art. I just sort of make it my own conglomerate. I do a lot of bootleg training in my house and stuff. Like, my punching bag is actually a buoy, like for boats, like a bumper that you put between one boat and another. It's like one of the big circle ones, and it's full of steel shot. So that's like the size of sand, because when we had a gym, we wanted to make sandbags to weigh down equipment so they wouldn't shift. But sand wasn't heavy enough, and so one of our guys sourced a steel shot that's super tiny. So it's just like this big bag, like rubber bag that's full of this steel, and I punch it barehanded. And it feels very body-like,
Like, so rocking some guts in there.
That's the thing, is like, I didn't go out and buy it. It's just like I repurposed something for my uses. Like, when we first made it, it wasn't as a punching bag. It was as a thing to weigh down something else. So I'm like, hey, we're not using it for that. I should probably use it for this.
Yeah.
So I definitely bootleg a lot of my stuff.
No doubt. I mean, I can tell, like, that aspect of you, what's the thing you just said?
The hobocraft.
Hobocraft.
Yeah.
That's so cool. No, that's super awesome. So let me holla at you and give you like a scenario, right?
Okay.
You get 3 weapons, right? You get like a projectile weapon, you get like a melee weapon, and then like whatever you want, like a magic, whatever you want for zombie apocalypse.
Whatever I want. This is the classic question, isn't it? Because projectile would probably have to be bow and arrows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mostly because, I mean, there's parts that can break, but there's parts you can just make, which is nice. Like, a rifle is awesome, but first of all, a big old bang. That's a good way to get got.
Yeah. Seriously.
So that would probably be the main one there. I would like a sidearm, just like a clock, because it's the most like prolific pistol in the world. So even in this zombie apocalypse, you're probably gonna find Glock parts and stuff everywhere. In 9mm, because again,
it's the most common.
It's the most common round. Yep. So like most common pistol, most common round, and then melee. I always go back and forth between the melee, because I don't like big, like heavy, unwieldy things, right? But I also don't like the idea of having to get really close.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
One of the things I train with or practice with or whatever you want to call it is a T-ball bat. Because everyone's like thinks baseball bat, but T-ball bat is like faster, it's easier, and it's like smaller. So I would either go with that or
it's like that's made of wood, right? It's
the one I use is made of metal, but you can get them made of wood. Yeah. You can wrap them with whatever you want and make them heavier.
The old barbed wire.
Yeah.
Hit 'em with the sting.
I don't know. Okay, that doesn't do so good if you're gonna store it on your back.
Absolutely.
I also like the idea of a spear.
Ooh,
I like spears a lot.
Yeah, no doubt.
Slash that knife on the end and just
there you go.
It's like a little distance, so I go back and forth.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good one. The spear.
Yeah, I like the spear because you can hunt with the spear.
Yeah.
You can like.
And you still got that range.
You get the range. You get enough people with spears. You can start making the phalanx and all that.
Oh yeah. Let's go. I see you 300.
Yeah.
Nice.
I always like the idea. I'm not a skater, but I think it'd be really cool in the in this magical apocalypse world, to have a deck made of Kevlar, like a Kevlar bulletproof deck for your skateboard.
Oh, okay.
And then that's also your shield.
Oh.
/ your like bludgeoning weapon, so you can like skate around on it when you can, and then you can pick it up and like block and
I feel like someone needs to pay you to write all this stuff down and make a show.
Isn't that a great idea?
Yo, I love it.
Because you could too, like you just get the epoxy and that like
no, absolutely, like I'm just
like
thinking
a Kevlar deck would be so sick.
Like I'm thinking like when I was in the army, like there's legitimate stuff that's made, like the helmet is literally like the epoxy with Kevlar threads.
Yep, exactly.
Inside.
And you just layer it and you press it. Like you could somebody do that.
Yo, for real, I'll buy it. Let's go. I always like, I don't know. The other day I was thinking like I shoot archery myself, and I was thinking we were playing some video game, and I was just thinking like it would be dope if you had a bow that doubled as a shield, so you could punch people back and then shoot them. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean I'm with that too, and I actually am not that great at archery. I don't even practice it. I just like conceptually I'm like having something silent would be or like almost silent would be pretty smart.
Yeah. It goes with like your persona too.
Yeah, like, even though rifles are cool. Yeah. Just like bang, 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 then everyone knows where you are.
It's not a good look.
Yeah.
Rifle probably a lot heavier too.
Yeah, there's all kinds of factors, and you can get bows that break down smaller than a rifle too.
Yeah, my bow does that. It's like a takedown bow. The limbs collapse, and you can fold it with the riser.
Yeah, we used to make PVC bows and
that's sweet.
And padded arrows and have bow and arrow wars in the gym.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's really easy to do too. It's so easy.
You have to write down some concepts so we can do that here.
Yeah, it's so easy. There's actually a guy, there's a YouTube channel who, Backyard Bowyer, Backyard BOW, YER, and he has these tutorials on how to make a bunch of, like, you can make an 80-pound bow out of PVC.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine's like a 50-pound, but it's like aluminum riser with wood limbs. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, so we were playing with that for a bit, and it's good, clean fun.
No doubt. What do you use? You put like tennis balls on the end?
No, we ended up using corks. Corks and tape, and with like a little foam on the end of the cork.
Nice.
And just dowel. You just dowel, and then you fletch it with duct tape.
Oh, nice. Man, that's really genius, actually. Because, like, if to buy fletching is expensive.
No, just fletch duct tape.
It
comes off, you just fix it.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, y'all. Keep an eye out for PPK Philly's archery program.
Yeah, there's like arrow tag, archery tag. Because you already have everything else set up. You got nice barriers and everything. You just gotta.
Like they do we already do like the Nerf war thing here. I'm trying to do something with that.
It's ridiculously easy. Also, you don't need like a proper bowstring for it because it's just like goofy fun. So you can just use
550 cord or something.
Yeah, I was just using like the micro cord or something a little bit thicker than that, and good to go.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, even kind of going back to your workshop, we were doing like an exercise where you did like an active shooter, like get out of the room as quickly as possible thing. Can you give me some like examples of how you came up with these ideas for these workshops? Because that was the funnest thing ever. Like, your workshop was so fun. Cool. The entire time.
Yeah. How do I come up with them? Well, I spoke to it a little bit in the workshop. It's all scenario based. I'm trying to look at what could happen, and then what would I want my response to be. This is a really, I guess, for me, it's a normal way to approach life, is contingency planning. What could happen? What do I want my reaction to be? So I do go out of my way to look at the various scenarios. So I follow a lot of accounts that do things around situational awareness. Posting security footage is one of the big ones. Is watching, having watched hundreds of robberies and this and that and the other thing is like you can start seeing
the one that you shared with us too.
Oh yeah, there's a video of a guy who's running from 5 motorcycle cops. Like, he's running on foot and not even that fast. Like, he's long of legs, so he's like loping, but he gets away from 5 cops on foot with some like granted not very good parkour techniques.
Yeah.
Just basic stuff, really basic stuff. It's just they didn't have the mindset to get off or to be able to get over the thing and this and that. So that's how I found that. So I'm just going through and trying to find these things so I can see, because I want to expose my brain to this scenario, right? Trying to inoculate myself to what's happening, and try to break it down and understand what went well with that thing, what went not well, what do I want to happen. Like, I can't guarantee I'm going to react a certain way.
Yeah.
Right? There's no way. But the point of the practice and the point of the study is to try and get as close to being in the reaction that I want. The same reason we practice bounce backs and falling.
Mm-hmm.
For parkour is you don't have to think when you're actually falling, oh, what do I do? You want it already there.
Yeah,
so,
train muscle memory, of course.
Yeah, so with the things in classes and workshops and scenarios, I'm basically doing that just on a larger scale. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to expose these guys to this idea that active shoot scenarios are a thing. And, I use this room, which you have a whole parkour gym. I'm coming in here with some tables and some benches. Why? Because these are things that are everywhere in the world.
Yep.
So starting with what is common, and then I guess the other aspect of how to decide what to do is what skills or abilities I want people to learn. So with this scenario that I had y'all lined up against the wall. I had the little Nerf gun, and everyone's facing this way in your hands, and I just hand it to someone. We make noise, and everyone sits down. And then as soon as you see the gun or you see it pulled out, people just need to flee. So what I was trying to get with that was, first of all, the idea that it could be anybody, anytime, right? Because you never know. Someone's in. For us, the benefit of practice is we know someone has it.
Yeah.
Right? But the second thing was I wanted people starting to look at body language. I didn't say anything about body language.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't say, hey, if someone shifts their eyes or moves their hand or does something sketchy. I didn't have to say that because I wanted people to start seeing it and start looking for it. So that's really how I went about it. Yeah. It's like, what do I want them to learn? What could happen? What do I want the response to be? Mm-hmm. And then you just simulate it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how can people get a hold of you to book these seminars and stuff?
Yeah, you can totally get me at my Parkour Visions email, Brandee with 2 E's at parkourvisions.org. I'm also on Instagram as Monkey Moves, at Monkey Moves with 2 E's.
Mm-hmm. We got it
yeah, it's up there.
You gotta look for it.
I think it's
yeah, there you go.
Like down here somewhere.
Yeah,
I've never got to do that on a video. Like, look below. In the description. Click here. Subscribe. Yeah, link below. Sick, dude. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm here with Brad.
What's up, guys? No, that's awesome.
But yeah, my Parkour Visions email is fine. I also have a slowly moving project called Citizen Operating Systems, which is where a lot of this mindset stuff is meant to be going. Because it's not exactly parkour. But it's still really important to me, like the utility life. So at Citizen Operating Systems on Instagram, and I have the Gmail, citizenoperatingsystems@gmail.com.
Cool.
And there is a website even.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, citizenoperatingsystems.co. There's like a couple articles up right now and some links to some videos to the YouTube. So it's, again, slowly building it. But
that's cool.
That's what I'm really
focusing on. What do you mainly focus on there?
There's a couple focuses. I mean, definitely the flight aspect of fight or flight is really important. Something I've seen in the self-defense sphere is, you go to a self-defense class, and what do they tell you? If you can, run away. Well, they should say, if you cannot be there, don't be there, right? Avoid the scenarios. But if you have to be there, try to run away. And what I've noticed is most places don't actually practice the running away part. You just assume it's going to happen easily. And as someone who's been teaching parkour for so long, I can tell you that running is not as easy as people make it out to be, especially when there's people in the way or obstacles or who knows what. And so the COS is that's one big aspect of it, is what does it look like to practice this and to find the best methods. So it's still a lot of try and error too. Like there's no guidelines for the best practices for this. So a lot of it is just exploring and seeing. But it's also where I want to put the tips for like the EDC stuff and EDP stuff. Like, the most recent thing I put up was the little tutorial on how to make those reflective patches that I make. So I just make a quick video, like, here's how to do this. I have one coming up on sewing a Velcro field onto my hoodie so I could put patches onto it.
Yeah.
Right? So little things that are approachable that people can do to kind of optimize their day-to-day lives is the goal with that.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I wish you were wearing that because that thing is so cool.
Oh, I mean, there's this one.
Oh yeah, sweet. So what is that material exactly?
There's a company called Cyalume, Cyalume. This is not very good. The light's kind of dying, so you can't really see it. Get your phone light and flash this real quick. Cyalume makes glow sticks and such and so forth. I don't know how well this is going to show up on there, but this is an adhesive tape, safety tape, so you can kind of see it. It glows in the dark and it reflects. I put it here because I didn't like seeing the Apple symbol on my phone.
Yeah, I'll go to that.
Yeah, because this case was like trying to be fancy. But yeah, it's a good stuff. Like, it's just a way to mark things and to be seen or to not be seen, and I don't know, just like a small thing that makes a lot of utility. Like my phone, I can see it in the dark all night long.
Yeah,
like, I don't have to. It's just like, oh, there's my phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, even before I put this on here, I would know where it is because I put it where I want it to be. But
so you make a habit of like leaving your phone face down, so that's always face up.
Yes, I've always made a habit of putting my phone face down too, because I don't want flashes and like bright stuff, and just I want it what I want, because then I grab it and I can look at it. I have these things, very particular ways to do most things. Yeah. Right? Like, I'm putting my shirts and pants on the same way every time. I talked a bit in my workshop about doors and doorways, like walking through and having these mindsets. I started calling it everyday kata.
Like, we have like, why don't you do like kind of go through the economy of motion with a door, just because like we have the camera that can see it. I'll rotate it because it was such a good thing to mention during your workshop.
Yeah, well, the question was how many times in my life am I going to be going through a doorway, right? I can't even tell the answer because there's still many times to go. So if I'm always, every time I go through the doorway, I could just, kind of do whatever, look around, whatever. That doesn't make sense to me personally. Is I want every single moment, if I can, to be a time to improve my skills in some way, or just to refine something that I'm doing. So if we're looking at the mindset and the ideas of footwork, especially cutting footwork and coming around, and then of course also the geometry of spaces, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get, just for funsies, get in the habit of coming through and already having looked, and then I can kind of come through here. It's the same way every time. Yeah. Right? The same number of steps, the same eyesight tracking. That's not a very good. I feel like I didn't describe it very well just now because I wasn't quite ready. I think you did fine
too, and maybe the mics didn't even pick up exactly everything.
It's
you were
just
saying,
awareness, right? It's just taking a little more awareness into simple tasks that you just forget that you're even doing, right? Most people go through doors, and especially at home, you're not really thinking about it, right? But at this point, like, I don't think about it either when I'm
because it's part of like your organic lifestyle.
Yeah, it's just and you start to flow through your world that way too, Yeah, it's just one example. I have a way for most things. Yeah, and it's like, it must be this way. That gets me in trouble too, though, because I sometimes expect people to be playing by my rules, and that never works. Yeah,
that's why you always have the edge.
Maybe. I don't always have the edge.
Oh man.
No, I would like that. Monkey 2E, no Y. Monkey moves E. So monkey moves 3 E's. Nope, just MONKEEMOVES. Just monkey moves. One thing. Yeah. 2 E's, because my name is Brandee with 2 E's. Yeah. So it's the 2 E's.
I see you.
Also, like, yeah. That's the main thing. I think, yeah.
No, that's sweet. So that's super cool. How long have you been putting on the seminars? Like, you've been how long have you been training, and then like how long have you been coaching?
Like 14 years or something.
Oh man. All right. Tenured. Let's go.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. It's because of it's 2020 now. Yeah. And I started like getting really serious around 2007-ish, 2006, 7. Sometimes it all blurs together.
That's sweet. And then that's when you started training, or that's when
Yeah.
you started coaching?
Yes. So the thing about training and coaching and starting that together is that back then we didn't really have gyms.
Yeah.
We didn't have coaching certifications, facilities. I mean, that was the start of starting to kind of get there and start facilities. So when I started, it was a culture of you train, but you also teach each other. So something that we did in Seattle, which apparently is way structured, I wasn't even thinking of it, but even for our jams on the weekend, people would take turns leading the warm-up. So I would take turns leading a warm-up and showing people what I got, and I would consider that still like coaching because you were in front of the group and doing that. And before that, I was also like I had taught plenty of people juggling and things like that. So I already had sort of an instruction mindset around sharing. Because anytime I love something, I want to share it with somebody else, right? I want to help them maybe get close to how I feel about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't really separate my start of training through my start of coaching. Yeah.
And that passion's contagious too. So
hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm gonna set everyone on fire. Let's go. Yeah, exactly. Let's go. That's exactly how I feel about it.
No doubt. So that's really. I also wanted to ask like one other thing about like the clothes you wear and stuff. Like, what's your preference for what you train in? Like a lot of people are like sweatpants, but like it seems like you kind of prefer like the loose fitting stuff. What kind of shoes do you use to train?
Well, let's see here. So, whatever's free or cheap is a good start.
Yep.
No, I do have preferences though.
Yeah.
I need pockets on my pants. I need pockets. I need pants that are flexible in the crotch. Gusseted crotches are a must, and good seams and pockets so I can put my stuff in them. So these are my friend makes these pants. They're Evenki pants. They have like a pocket. She's designing them and is getting going to be selling them pretty soon. So I've been testing them for a couple years now, and they're awesome.
They look dope. Like you legit look like a video game character. I love like your style.
Right on. So this isn't part of them. I put this little thing on to protect my shoelaces. But yeah, these pants are great. I love these pants so much. So this is what I've been wearing. I always wear a pair of leggings under my pants unless it's like mad hot, and it has to be really hot, like over 100 degrees or like over 36 degrees Celsius or something. Like it has to be hot for me not to wear an under pair of pants, partially because if I'm wearing loose pants on the outer, my thighs are so ginormous that they rub together.
Oh man.
Like I'm not trying to have that.
Thunder thighs.
Yeah, my thunder thighs, they get the friction.
No doubt.
So that helps with that. There's also the sliding surface between the two pants because I do a lot of like butt slides and like knee hooks, and I'm in contact with surfaces a lot. So I found that having that extra layer, not so much for padding, but for more movement between the layers, and so it doesn't grab my skin with what's happening.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So there's that. I have something iconic to me is my butt cape.
Oh, yeah.
So my butt cape is this Under Armour, I guess they call it a shirt.
I prefer butt cape.
Yeah, they're padded. You can see it's all tattered and messed up. I can still wear it on my person, but I won't normally just wear it here as a belt and as a backup layer. But it's nice because it's soft and it's not like because I wear sweatpants and joggers, so there's no belt loops in those things. Yeah. But I still want something around my waist to hold my first aid kit, this is newer. I've been only using this for a couple months. So far it's been really great. And then my wallet hangs off of my butt cape as well, and that stays in my pocket for the most part. I don't usually take this stuff off when I'm training.
Do people give you shit for, is that Velcro?
There is Velcro in it that comes off comes in two pieces.
Yeah. Do people give you shit for using a Velcro wallet?
No.
I get it all the time. I still use a Velcro wallet. Get at me.
What the heck? Like, I mean, if people are giving you shit for your wallet, then get rid of those people.
Yo, for real.
So yeah, this peels across, and it could be like a patch on something. I feel like I stored something in here, and I'm trying to remember what it was in between the Velcro. So I'm like, is it still there? It might be my lip ring.
Oh man.
Nope, it's not there. But that's a little place you can,
Yeah.
You can put some lockpicks in there.
Oh yeah, all day.
I never do, but I could.
Yeah. It's a good place for it.
So the butt cape, that's on purpose. There's reasons. Also, it covers my actual seat of my pants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I can, like, first of all, not show my booty crack all the time.
Yeah.
And a little more between me and the world, like the damp concrete or whatever I'm sitting on.
Absolutely.
So it's like one extra thing. There's also a warmth factor. And the...
So you train in the winter like that? And the summer?
Yeah.
Just because it'd be raining in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like all day, every day.
Well, sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I was there, like I got super lucky. Like I'm much softer than you when it comes to the training aspect, but it was dry when I went to Freeway Park when I was there.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank God. Because it
Yeah.
rained like every other day I was
Well, that's
there.
one of those examples. It's like Freeway Park is not a great choice in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you can still go there, but you're not going to be able to do the same things.
Yeah.
Right?
The danger factor is like super increased.
Exactly.
And
It's
then
not
the
worth it.
like your margin for error and the consequence of bad form is much greater due to the height.
Exactly. So that would be a day to either, like, for me, that would be like a conditioning day.
Mm-hmm.
If it was like super rainy, or like a traverse day, trying to stay on and go across, like low impact, but like high intensity.
Yeah.
The secret utility of the front is that if my pants rip, there's like one more thing to kind of cover that. I've had that happen in classes where with these, not these pants, because these have a nice gusset, but, you know, like inferior sweatpants.
Yeah.
And then, yep, I like loose t-shirts. I often will wear 2 layers, like a tank top and then a t-shirt. You can see that I alter my t-shirts. This was a nice gift from someone. People will give me a shirt and they're like, okay, I see you ruined it right away.
Oh,
like,
man.
Yep, I gotta make it better.
Yeah.
So I cut out the collar and then I cut the sleeves because I want a little more freedom in my pits.
Why the collar?
Because I don't like the feeling of it. I like it being out and
Yeah.
loose. So this is a regular t-shirt, but I just took off those
Brandied
pieces.
it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wear this Jeep cap. Oh, my hair's gonna look so amazing.
Oh yeah. Let's go.
Let's put it up real quick. So this is a 100% wool. They call it a Jeep cap. It's like a...
You wear that in the summertime?
I do wear that in the summertime.
You cray.
No, I mean, I'll take it off for training sometimes.
Okay.
You know, like I put my hair up and braid it or something. So, yeah, 100% wool. I gave it the military surplus, $10. I've worn through a bunch of them. Usually they wear through right at the bill, and then I can just get a new one. But first of all, it's wool, so it's awesome. And then you see I have a couple paper clips on there, just in case I need one. And then
It's good for poking.
good for poking and like jangling. Another one of those nice kilt pins. This one I did actually sharpen, so it's sharper than it normally would be.
For extra poking.
For extra poking, and then there's a little clip there.
I like that. I've been eyeing it since.
Yeah, it's what I started doing when I was working on fishing boats with my working hat. I lost one into the void. I was like, this can't happen again. I need to find a way. So I, on that cap, I clipped it to my collar. I clipped it to something, and then
Nice.
I would never lose it. So I can also hang it on my bag, and you know, it's a little bling, that's kind of nifty.
That's sweet.
But yeah, this is my main hat.
Do you find that having like the dingle dangles and the jewelry, like how do you train despite having those things? Because a lot of people might regard that as like a dangerous thing to have.
Yeah, that's a good point. So I've never had any necklaces catch on anything. So that's something to keep in mind. When I'm doing security work, I used to be a bouncer and stuff, I would either tape over my earrings or take them out because I don't want the grab
course,
point.
Yeah.
But as far as like parkour training, none of it's ever been a problem. If I have something really long, I might take it off if it doesn't stay in. So for example, I got this. This is like a little fob. It has glow in the dark. So it's just a glow marker.
Is it like sandy?
Yeah, it's like sand. Because normally they take this and they'll use epoxy and make that into like other shapes. But it's like just like a
Cool.
powder. So say this was like more out and it's flying up in my face. Well, either I'm gonna tuck it or I'll take it off. Actually, just to know, I should have just pulled this. I forgot. This is that stuff I was talking about, the Dyneema. So that's extra strong, and you can see that it's hollow if you push it kind of toward itself.
Yeah, I see.
So you sink it in, and you can make other things that way. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Finger trap AF.
Exactly.
That's dope.
Yeah.
You have all the coolest things.
I like it.
And of course, this one can, get your old.
Sleeve. That's awesome. Tell me about this sweet tattoo situation going on here. It's like tan lines.
Oh yeah, I have white tattoos, white ink. It's just white ink, just by itself. It's one pass for everything, just one big. Because with white, the pigment is thicker, so you can't get as intricate with it. Mistakes are harder to fix, and so. Yeah, so this one on here is the White Lotus from the Avatar Last Airbender series. It's the White Lotus Society. And
That's
then
awesome.
This is one that I kind of helped talked with my artist to help design. It's just like kind of a fern growing situation.
Yo, ferns are the best.
Comes together in the back too. I don't know if you've seen the back, but they like come
Oh,
together.
what? We're taking a look. It's like wings almost.
Yeah, it's like sort of wings, but like sort of plants and it's kind of like unfurling. So the idea is like, always in the process of growing and unfurling, like never completely there. And it's also the torque, it's like I'm slowly building my royal mantle, basically.
You like nature a lot? Like you be going on hikes? Man,
I don't really hike for the sake of hiking.
Yeah.
If we have a mission, then that's one thing. I'm not going to just go on a hike, because the other thing is I'm like literally hiking around the city every day.
Yeah.
So I, even though there's beauty in nature and all of that, it's still just hiking, not really my thing. If there's like a cool cave, we're gonna go explore, or like like cool thing we're gonna go see. That's different. Or a hot spring. I will hike for a hot spring any day.
Let's go.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But I'm not much for just like everyone let's go on a hike. Like it's not.
Let's not say we
like
did.
Gonna hike up and like camp somewhere. Like okay, that's more my jam.
Yeah. I'm with that. I can relate on that one. Like I enjoy like camping, and I enjoy like going for a destination, but usually I try to find an excuse to like go. I'm not just I'm bored, let's go do that. There's a million other things we could be doing.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm at too. It's like, it's beautiful, and I can also find beauty everywhere I am.
Yeah.
So the hiking question is funny, because I do live in Seattle, and there's a lot of hiking to be done, and people are really into it. It's just not me.
Yeah. That's cool. So were you like born and raised on the West Coast in Seattle there?
Sure was.
Oh, word.
Yep. West Coast life. Yeah. I think you mispronounced it. It's the best coast. No, I'm just
Beast Coast.
I kid. I don't have any of those manufactured alliances.
Oh yeah.
Not really.
My allegiance lies with the highest bidder.
Some mercenary shenanigans.
No doubt.
Yikes.
No, I like making friends with everybody. I think that's like the bard thing.
Yes, bards are good. I respect the bard life.
It's a good time. Did you like how I took care of you this morning? I just left like the eggy wraps.
Wraps.
I'm like,
Brandee. Also, I appreciate the way you did that too, because most people are like, "Hey, you awake?" or like they'll touch, because I sleep in a hammock. When I travel, it's like, "Hey," and I was just like, "Yeah, oh, thanks, bro." Whereas the other day, someone was looking for someone else sleeping in the gym, and she was like shining the phone light.
Oh my god!
And I was like, stop! Like, go, stop! Like, do you know where this person is? No.
Can you not
go? Dude, I'm a meme.
If I have to get out of this hammock, someone is going to get hurt. I need all 8 hours.
Dude, I'm gonna get like 10 hours. I need to catch up.
I know.
I guess this is a new one too. I should talk about this.
Yeah, like the net. Like you're so stylish and functional. Like I have such a hard time doing that with like anything I do. Like the hobocraft is legit. Like I either look like homeless Jack Sparrow, or like I bought some like really like, or my girlfriend actually.
I like how you said homeless Jack Sparrow, as if that wasn't like who Jack Sparrow is.
For real. Well, he's like
those are nice pants.
He has a houseboat. Yeah. Well, my girlfriend got me these. Yeah, they're really nice.
Or what is it?
They got like that pregnant girl material right there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm actually kind of curious what pants those are.
Yeah, I mean, she'd tell you better than me, but the brand is Highleet. I would never have bought these. Heard of that. Yeah, I would have never bought these. She got them for me for Christmas.
Well, she's doing great.
Yo, she is, right?
She's doing
great. Because I usually like go to Ross and I'm like, oh, these are like $8.
I also go to Ross.
Yeah, Ross is the move though.
Like, so this is just like a mesh shawl. on Amazon. I found it for $10, and it's supposed to be one long thing, but I actually put this in here. So there's a cordage. You can see I have the micro cord.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what?
So 1, I have some extra cordage if I want to, but 2, it makes it one full loop. Because what happened was, so this is supposed to be end to end. It's supposed to be, it's sold as like a sniper shawl or like a concealment, right? So it doesn't work so well here, but you know, if it had the right environment where you can like conceal your face or what have you. But there's also, have you heard of sarong fighting or soft weapons? There's some cool stuff with soft weapons. Yeah, so it's something I wanted to kind of start in practice. Like, is it super practical? Maybe not, but again, if I'm going through airports and I don't get to carry other things, I want more options.
Like, I know, like the newspaper, right? Like they'll wrap it like super tight and make a club.
I used to make nunchucks out of National Geographics when I was a kid.
Yo, let's go.
Yeah, you just like roll up 2 and then put like a rope between them.
Yeah, just like shoelace, whatever.
So the soft weapon is basically like the main is like here, and so you can entrap limbs. Of course, you have the binding of things, and then there's, you know, blocks or even just like whipping in the eyes. And, I'm not practiced at it, not really. Again, it's not that bootleg stuff.
I'm kind of curious now. Like, I want to like kind of incorporate like some jujitsu stuff. Maybe we can lab something later. With that.
Seriously. Like, it's just, you know, it's just a long piece of something that puts a little more between me.
Yeah.
What I would love is, again, like I would love like a big sheet of Kevlar, so it's like cut resistant, but this was $10 and Kevlar is not $10.
Yo, true. You're looking at like 10 times the price probably.
Yeah, exactly. I actually, in my search to find, because the sarongs are also really colorful, so that's why I found this instead, because I don't wear colors. It would be very out of place for me, because a lot of times they wear it too. They'll wear it in practice. It's a part of the Filipino martial arts. Like Kali and stuff is to wear it across like this. I was just like, yeah, I can pull that off, but not with the colors. So I found what would work for me. But in that search, I actually found a company. There's a company online that sells Kevlar lined like scarves and stuff. It's like a London based or UK based company that has like all this like cut proof clothing.
Oh yeah, because knives are a problem over there.
Exactly. So that was a cool idea. But you know, this is just a scarf for now. Or it could be something else.
Yeah. Well, just kind of going off of the, we got a visitor. What's up, dude? Hello. If you guys want to just, like, hang out in the other room, that would be sweet. Thanks. Can you close that? Thank you. Oh, we got some visitors today. We'll have to probably wrap up pretty soon here as we got some guests rolling in here to the gym. But, yeah, we're running a podcast. Cool. Yeah. All right. Yeah, back to what we were saying about
comfort, utility, style in that order. And then the shoes I've been rocking. Actually, do you want to
definitely
hit up the shoe company real quick? It's called Woobies. The whole thing.
Thank you, sir. If you want to like make sure no one else walks in, we'll probably wrap up here shortly as we're opening up shop. Yeah,
I'm gonna give a shout out to Woobies Shoes. He, the guy who owns it, he's on Instagram. It's Woobies OG. Woobies like WOOBIES, like the Woobie.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're familiar.
Yeah.
So comfortable. So comfortable.
Ooh, that grip though.
I know the grip is great. I like that. The grip is awesome. I can't believe how comfortable they are. Like they look like your regular like skate shoe or Vans. They're way more comfortable than like any of those. The rubber has been awesome. The upper has been awesome and comfortable. They're light and like they're flexible because I don't do
breathy holes.
Yeah, I don't do non-flexible shoes, so they go here and then right away out of the box, boom, like full flexibility here.
How much is a pair of those bad boys?
I think they're like around the $80 mark for like a normal shoe, a normal high quality shoe. What's also important about these is that you can see the sole is stitched on.
Yes.
It's not glued on. So that is also a must for durability. These ones, there was the old version, and they had their manufacturing outside the U.S. So I did. Just to be fully honest, because, they're not paying me. They did send these to me. These seams started to split out pretty fast. Like on this one, it took about 4 days for this to start happening.
Oh, man.
Right at the bend.
You were training on them pretty intensely, though.
Yeah, I mean, I took them out of the box, and I just took them out, and then I coached, and then I trained.
You gotta.
Yeah, I mean, that's if I can't have a shoe. But they recently are moving all of their manufacturing to the States, specifically so they can get better quality control for stuff like this. So whatever's coming out now is even better than these ones. So
that's cool.
This is the operators, the Wibby's operators. They have other names. Like there's a 5.56.
Oh yeah,
you know, like
NATO rounds.
Yeah, because this guy's ex Special Forces,
oh.
and it's like veterans work for the company.
Do they have like a Converse looking one?
Yeah, they have like. Here, I'll pop it up real quick. They're great. Like the style, they're very stylish, and I can't.
Because I used to rock Converse, but now that Nike bought them, like,
dude, these are way more comfortable than Converse
stuff. Like I can't justify buying them anymore.
These are way more comfortable than Converse. Let's do the Woobies. They're slick and they look good. And that's the thing is, like, you know, they sent me these ones, but I would absolutely buy some new pairs, and I will buy more when send
it to the DMs for me. Oh, I dig that so much.
Yeah, so
I'm sending that to me.
Yeah, at Woobies. WOOBIES. And just a cool dude. Like he, because a lot of times with people in my parkour, they don't see it as like that fantastical. They want someone who jumps big and has like big moves.
Yeah.
But he was just like seeing the like internal like process and just really recognizing what I'm about, which I just really appreciate. And dude, the shoes are so comfortable.
No doubt.
Yeah, I want a pair of like all of them, especially in black.
Yeah. All right. Well, it looks like. Let me ask you one more kind of controversial question. We can kind of. Yeah, it's gonna be controversial.
Controversy.
So, what's your thoughts on like the gun control situation? Like, because obviously, like you were kind of touching on like in London, the cut-proof stuff is a big deal. Mm-hmm. So it's like affecting their economy that there's still violence despite their gun control.
Yeah, it is controversial, and I kind of said it earlier too, right? The first thing to any dictatorship is to disarm the population. I do not believe in being disarmed. As far as Second Amendment goes, everyone's like, oh, this is obsolete, this is that and the other thing. I also don't believe that either. In my opinion, in the States, the amendment, the second, is to the right to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. Even though the words say what the words say, I interpret it as keeping the right to protect myself. As far as gun control, I would like to see more things, more places. So for example, in Washington State, to get a concealed permit, you don't have to do any classes. Ooh. You don't have to prove anything about your proficiency. You just have to have like $45.50 or something and not be a felon. Yeah. And then you can get your permit. I think that's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whereas in like Massachusetts, you have to prove you're in mortal danger and do all these hoops and ladders and everything just to get to that point. So those are on the big ends of the spectrum for me. I want something somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
But I want to see a test of proficiency for anyone who wants to own and especially carry firearms.
Yeah.
That you have to prove every year. You shouldn't have to pay for it over and over again. But I would like to see that because for me personally I've seen, there's certain things I look at. There's a lot of people out there carrying things they have no idea how to use.
Yeah.
It's more dangerous that they have them than not.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people won't agree with me on the proficiency aspect.
Yeah.
You think that I should just have it because I want it.
Yeah.
I do. Like I'm very.
I think like having it maybe not the biggest deal, but like carrying like a concealed carry is a huge.
It's mostly for carry. Yeah. Like for carry, if someone's going to carry something, I want them to be able to have to show their proficiency at that. Maybe you can earn. After 10 years, like 5 years or whatever, you're like, okay, this person obviously is keeping up, or who knows what. But it freaks me out how many people are carrying guns who literally don't train with them at all. Like not even dry fire.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous to me.
Yeah. I think, like you were saying, like about like having the proficiency test, like I was in the military and I think even in the military, like there's some people who were like, man, they should have like babysat you a little more when they were training you. But at the same time, like I think annually maybe testing isn't the best idea just because I don't see a free way of doing that. I think every time you renew it though, I think that's fair that you should have to
maybe the renew sure every 5 years or whatever it is.
I think that's a great idea though,
that would be fine because in there's a model, I think it actually is Denmark. He was telling me a little bit, my friend was telling me a little bit about it, but they have to do it for bows and arrows for hunting and for guns, where you have to do this pretty intensive proving that you can use this effectively and safely. That I think is not too much to ask from people. I think it's, if someone thinks that's too much to ask to show me that you can use this thing, I think you have no business with it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's obviously just my opinion. I also think that putting more laws on the books is going to do literally zero for criminals to change their mind.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's one of the goofiest things I've ever heard is, there's all these people doing illegal things. Let's make more laws. Like, they're not already breaking the laws that are there.
I got memes all day.
I know it, and everyone's saying that, well, we're trying to make it less available to criminals or less available to these people. It's like, no, you're in the United States. There are, like, so many more firearms than there are humans.
Yeah.
And they're going to be, they're
realistic.
around. It's not realistic, and it's not the way to go about it. What needs to change is a cultural change.
The mentality, absolutely.
The mentality,
I couldn't agree more.
emotional stability and support growing up. Mental health is the main thing with the whole thing. It goes back to, are people being taken care of and being taught how to deal with their emotions and their mental health. And this is also controversial from my side. There's definitely a factor, in my opinion, of the violent media and taking in violent media as a very young person and the way that it's put on a pedestal in our culture.
Yeah.
Right? Like, hey, I'm the first to... The Punisher. Why did I watch The Punisher? Because I want to watch him punish people.
Yeah.
Right? It's exciting.
Let's go.
It's, like, gnarly. And I also have an adult mind developed enough to know that it's fantasy and that it's entertainment, but... Why do we have so much entertainment that's all violence? Like, why is that so prominent? Why do we love it? And I have ideas why we love it, but what I'm saying is we're not using it responsibly, or we're not at least addressing it responsibly with especially our kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, making more laws and like banning stuff. That's just the goofiest thing. Yeah. That's like,
because you're taking it away from the law-abiding citizens.
Exactly. Then, like, it's like, what's one of the examples is, all right, we have a drunk driver problem. Great. So we're going to take the licenses of all the people who are sober, put laws on that. It's like, no, these people are going to do this. They're already doing something illegal. Why do you think making a new law is going to actually affect that? Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot more nuance to it, and definitely open to having deeper conversations around it when we have more time, or if someone really disagrees, because I'm not here to push my agenda or anything. I just think what I think, and for me, my default is I care about people, and I care about quality and effectiveness and utility. I mean, I saw on Facebook one time this woman posted, I just got this new rifle, haha, better figure out how to load it.
Oh man.
It's like, wait, I'm sorry, you bought a firearm that you literally don't even know how to load yet? What are you doing? Yeah. Like, what are you doing with that? What are you doing with that, And
the access to the resources to learn are so plentiful now with the internet, too.
It's so easy. It's so easy to get, like, basic education. Absolutely. I mean, when I was 23 or something, I was pretty afraid of guns just because I had never touched any or worked. Actually, I had done some on the fishing boat, but pistols I never had any experience with, so I got myself a class for my birthday. And before I went to the class, I did all the studying I could on the internet. I show up to the class, everything he's saying I've already heard before or read before. Get onto the range, do it for the first time, and my accuracy is primed already because I've understood the concepts before I got there. The guy was like, hey, have you ever considered joining the police or military? And I was like, I have, but bureaucracy, no thanks. But then in my head I was thinking, wait, shooting a gun is great, but that should not be like the main thing you push on someone to join the police or the military. Like maybe if you heard my communications or my way with people, maybe then you're like, have you ever considered being a police officer? But you shoot accurate, you should be a cop. Like,
oh man.
No, dude. So but that's the thing is I went in there and I was knowledgeable already, even though I had not done the thing. So you're right, there's plenty of resources out there, which is why I think it's not insane to ask people to show that they can do something, right? Like you do it for driver's tests.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You're driving around this thousands of pounds of metal tank. So show us you can do it safely. Why do people get so upset about having to show that they're proficient with firearms? That to me is crazy. Like if you're such a FUD that you're like, I could just have this and I don't need to prove anything. It's like, okay, well, how good are you being for yourself or for anyone else?
Yeah, absolutely.
If you don't think you should be held to any standards.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing like that you said that I think is like an ethos people should definitely adopt is just like changing the culture to value human life more.
That is
That's
exactly.
the biggest thing.
I mean, you said it. That
Mhm.
it's the culture. It's the
Mhm.
culture because you mentioned it too, like London knife problem.
Mhm.
They took away the guns, and people are getting.
going to be violent.
People are going to be violent.
If I want to hurt you, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, they're putting up barriers so people don't drive cars through populated areas because people are going to be violent and terroristic and awful.
Mhm.
But that's a good blocking the symptoms.
Yeah.
But it's not the cause,
Yeah.
and you're not doing anything to help the cause.
Mhm.
So those are my big thoughts
Sentiments,
about
yeah.
that sentiments. Yeah, about that
Alright.
stuff.
Looks like now's probably a good time
Yeah,
to
it's
close up
it's
shop.
getting kid life over
Yeah,
here.
kid life over here for sure. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, get any seminars, get any more information on any of the practices or endorsement-y kind of things from you, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at my email, Brandee, Brandee, at parkourvisions.org. You can find me on my Instagram, Monkey Moves, at MONKEEMOVES. And then if you're looking for more of this kind of stuff as far as the concepts of utility, Citizen Operating Systems, all one word, at gmail.com.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on,
Yeah,
dude.
man, thanks for having me. It's been really fun.
Yeah, I agree. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody. It's been great.